All right, Detroit Pistons lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers 109-116. I haven't really officially looked at the box scores, but it's a lot going on. It's a game they gave away. You can blame Durn, you can blame Dennis Jenkins. You really can blame Kay Cunningham for throwing the ball to Max Strus. I mean, the NBA just be looking rigged to me, dog. I just got a big issue with it. Just in this whole series. I've been talking a little bit on Instagram, my main Instagram, about just in general, man. I did one on the Sixers and the Knicks, some of the bad calls. I talked a little bit about, Schroeder faking and like he got chopped in the throat. It got to the point where these motherfuckers is they are the equivalent of these women on the internet begging the men for money and panhandling. The NBA is, they become a bunch of floppers, actresses. I can't even call these actors. I can't even disrespect actors like this. It's become actors, because if we being real, Kay Cunningham should be getting a lot more calls, that the rest of these bums is getting, but he don't get them because he's 6'7" point guard. It's kind of like the Shaq effect. They could have called a foul every time on Shaq, but it would be unfair. And I'm not complaining, but it's just to the point where these motherfuckers crying for claws, flopping, and barely winning. And even outside of that, it was K throwing the ball away. They missed fuck the 3-pointers. When we look at the stats respectfully, but it's these dudes, in my opinion. It's these dudes that were just missing layups. Durn missing layups. Asar missing layups. They missing layups. Jenkins missing layups. Cade missing layups. They missing layups that they should be making. Duncan Robinson is like one of their most efficient. Him and Paul Reed are some of their most efficient finishers at the bucket. It's one thing where you want to be a team that's going to shoot the ball at a high clip from 3-point land. I think we all understand that. But when you missing layups, come on now. And it ain't got nothing to do with soft ass Evan Mobley neither, man. This ain't Victor Wembanyama in there. And then he's just starting to rub me the wrong way that they missing layups, And I was talking about this in the 76er game. Like I did a video where Paul George got trapped. I think they were still in New York. He got trapped in the corner, game 2. And wonder why they lost. He got trapped, passed it to number 5 under the bucket. He has an easy layup, no contest, just finish it. This motherfucker kicks it to Kelly Oubre for a 3. And you just sitting there looking like, man, it's hard to watch basketball because they play it at such a, I want to say this, a short bus shorty level. The game is played so horrible, man. I'm sorry to see this, man, say this, but the game is played at a very, very low IQ point, and then on top of that, you got everybody flopping for a foul. Everybody flopping to get a foul. Man, nobody want to watch a whole bunch of grown men cry. All they do is sit there. Is cry, flop for a foul. And I get it. Do what you got to do to win. But at the end of the day, the NBA is the lemon that's not worth the squeeze. It's really not worth your time. If the Pistons weren't playing, I wouldn't be watching. Because I be watching these games, man. They could talk about the Thunder. I don't really, watch them like that. But I understand the outrage. But every NBA game is traveling. These motherfuckers carry the ball up the floor the whole game, bro. It's hard to watch when you understand the rules. They carrying the ball up. They taking 3 or 4 steps religiously. Nobody calling it. They're literally taking the ball and traveling up the court. They're using fake. How many times, if we gonna be anal and just be honest about the NBA, how many times have we seen an offensive player shove the defender and get a shot off, but it's never called? How many times have we seen the offensive player put their shoulder into a defensive player, and the foul is on the defensive player? At the end of the day, I just got questions. I got a lot of questions. You know what I'm saying? The NBA is a horrible product, and they won't cut it out. They won't call carrying. They won't call traveling. They won't call palming the ball. You know what I mean? They won't call nothing. But they get these offensive players all these fouls, man, and for nothing, and they the ones that's initiating the contact. James Harden kicked Tobias Harris, and guess what? It was a foul on Tobias. I mean, it was a no call. Tell me it's fixed without not being fixed. But I mean, get to these scorecards, right? And that's, I mean, this thing. I mean, couple. I'll go with Cleveland. I mean, today they got home and they didn't beat the Pistons off of merit. They beat the Pistons because the refs helped them. And they some bitches. I just hate to say it, man. Them. I mean, SGA. Dennis Schroeder, a whole ass nigga. Who else we got? I'm just LeBron been doing it for years. Jalen Brunson is a pussy. I'm just tired of watching basketball. Cat Carthy Towns is a whole blade out there. You just tired of watching basketball, and it's not manly. It's not manly no more. You're just tired of watching these motherfuckers flop and cry and travel up the floor. So they shot 28 free throws, 64%, man. And that was terrible. You know, I don't know. Even a big fella, Jared Allen, can shoot free throws at a high clip. The Pistons shot 22, today 28, and I feel like that's fair. Pistons shot 36% from 3, took 25. They took 30, 32. They didn't shoot but they shot the ball really, really well from the field, 58%, top 45%. I guarantee you 41, about 20 out of those 91 that they missed was at the bucket. I mean, golly. Dennis Jenkins, you expect role players to fizzle on the road. I'm not surprised by his performance. I like Karis LeVert, but he do shit that make you think. Well, let me get back to the Caps and I'll get back to that. I mean, Dean Wade, all his shit going off in defense. I mean, Jared Allen, he was effective today. But we seeing motherfuckers with 4 and 8 rebounds, and Donovan Mitchell got 10 rebounds. Shout out to him. Harden, he still was funky ass, but he closed down the stretch. He still was terrible. He is 36. Schroeder changed the game. They played him a lot more in this game. Strus was a non-factor, but he defended, had the big steals. They just not a good. They just, you know, I'm not saying they not better than I don't know. They could be. They couldn't be. Player for this not a good basketball team. Honestly, the way it's constructed, the way it's coached, it's not a good basketball team. You know, they got too many limited players. I mean, Evan Mobley, they had 13 and 8. And you paying him all that money. He that talent. That's a joke. I think Jared Allen did his job. I like to see more rebounds. Dean Wade did his job. When it come to Harden and Mitchell, they liabilities. Mitchell's another crybaby bitch ass nigga. Schroeder's a Schroeder, he a little pest. But other than that, I really like the white boys on their team. It's Strus a white boy. Strus, Dean Wade, and then the other little white boy that had come in. I liked him a lot too. He took a couple charges. I couldn't even dispute those charges. But you know, anytime you got 2 beta males that's the leader on your team, and Harden and Mitchell, you ain't gonna win. Neither one of them make nobody better. So if Harden is showing he a role player, he fizzles in big moments, he fizzles on the road, and he show up at home, and he's somebody you can't rely on, and people give him chance a year. You think at 36 years old, maybe you can hope for Tobias Harris to get together because he ain't the number 1 or he ain't the number 2 player. You know, he ain't the 1 or he ain't the second best player. But Harden is supposed to be a Hall of Famer, supposed to be better than Dwayne Wade. And I'm gonna address Paul Reed. I'm really much not in this video, but Jenkins was a negative 28. I mean, I don't really get it. Karis LeVert, I think he playing his ass off defensively. I just think he need to be more under control with the ball. Wu got to hit the threes. He made one big one, but man, come on, I ain't really mad at 11 minutes, but he made a big one. Hollins, you know, you don't know when you playing not. They just treat him like a kid. Stu has been a non-factor, but he's done a lot of things that you can't quantify in stats. I will give him that. But only played 9 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, Harris, you know, I mean, he rolling. Duncan Robinson, he rolling. K, you know, he doing his thing, but he could have been the turnovers tonight, 8 of them, especially the one at the end that got to stop. But in general, he had his little Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird moment. If you know the reference, you get old enough or you know history. And Thompson, he didn't play down the stretch. You know, honestly, you know, anything I would have done different. You can't not play Ron Hollins. He's too good of a defender. I know they chose to go with Wu 1 for 4, but if I'm being real, you know, Jenkins, you got to stick with Jenkins through the highs and lows. Karis LeVert, Paul Reed, Ron Hollins, and Javonte Green, them the ones I'm playing off the bench. I had no problem with them pulling Thompson. I get why you wanted offense, but Thompson he a piss poor free throw shooter too, so that don't help. But I think if they really take a look at it, man, Paul Reed, you got to get. You know, I know Duran is they live by this code. You know, the old code is We've been, Durant got us here. We going nah, fuck that. We here now. We here. Paul Reed is playing well. You leave him in the game. You leave Paul Reed in the game. Paul Reed is playing well. You leave him in the game. This is not about favoritism. You can't kill Jalen Duren confidence no more because it ain't shit there. So I think if he got to get out of that mentality that he got to get out of that mentality that he owe Jalen Duren something. Duren on me. Nah, we trying to win. Let's get Paul Reed in there. And if Paul start fucking up, then you go with Duren. You know what I'm saying? But Stu has been doing a lot of things, little things. But, a lot of these dudes looking expendable from time to time. But, me personally, if we really having this conversation, Paul Reed has just got to play above Stewart at least. I think he got to play above Jalen Duren some. If he rolling early in the game and it's down the stretch and they splitting time with Duren, I think the obvious answer is you going with Paul Reed. You going with Paul Reed. I'm sorry, man. He just seemed to maybe it's just he a little bit more fresher. He more of a veteran. He know what's going on. You got to roll with Paul Reed. And it's just doing you an injustice. I get you want to stick with Duren. You don't want to play with his chicken. But Duren had, 10 games, and he ain't showed you. He had one decent game or two decent games, Game 7 and Game 1. Game 7 and Game 1. So, yeah, at the end of the day, give Isaiah Stewart a break, give Duren a break and roll with bro. I just don't understand. I get how he trying to just not lose the locker room, but I think anybody can understand this at this point. Anybody can understand at this point, but at the end of the day, that false sense of loyalty there, man, it ain't your fault that you didn't give him every opportunity to get his chicken. He had opportunity. B-ball Paul, man. If Paul start messing up, hey, yank him and go with Duren. You still got Isaiah in the cut too. You could play some of these dudes together, but ultimately you can't let feelings get in the way of the fact that you're trying to win. We all adults here, and I get that he 22 and he young and all this, but look at look at James Harden. He 36 years old, have been fucking up since he been 20 in the playoffs. This ain't the generation where they figuring it out. They not. Rudy Gobert come back every year and don't have a post game. Who's really evolving a game like that? Yeah, Jay McDaniels. You got a guy here. A lot of these guys are stagnant. They're stagnant in their development. Can you trust Asar Thompson to be able to shoot? Can you trust Jalen Duren to get over the mental block of the playoffs? I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm just telling you that, I'm not here for it. It just seemed like 80-90% of the NBA, 80 or 90% of the NBA, it just seemed that they ain't shit when it comes to developing. But I'm going to address a little bit more about the B-ball Paul and Duren situation. But Pistons got some decisions to make, man. In this series, and then after the playoffs is over with, they got a lot of decisions to make, y'all. They got a lot of decisions to make. And if, the thing about the personnel decisions that you make in this series and you make to this roster and who you're willing to get rid of or you want to keep, it comes down to this. The thing we forget about is relationships. Don't let it get it twisted. These guys have guys that they like. They have guys that mean a lot to the locker room. They got guys that they care for. And don't forget that a lot of times, a lot of dudes didn't make the basketball team in high school or didn't make certain teams because, certain coaches or whatever didn't trust them. They did not trust them. They didn't like them, excuse me. People need to understand light go a long way in sports. A lot of somebody out there, probably could have been better than Michael Jordan, but didn't get the break because somebody didn't like them. That's one thing about America. I say this all the time in a lot of my videos. If y'all watch my videos, I say it all the time about America. America doesn't exploit its biggest and brightest. It hides its brightest and its most talented people behind a terrible system. It does. It's all about how people like you. I tell you, even if you are phenomenal at the job that you do, they keep you around. But the person who they like more, even if they are not reliable, even if they not as great as you at the job, you know, that particular person, they're going to advance and put the run stuff because America is just you know how they say America run on Duncan. America run is must be a female because it runs like a female. It runs on feelings. It runs on how much do I like you, not substance, not on ability, not on how you get the job done. And that's the trap that a lot of young people of Gen Zers. This is what they don't under. This is what they've pretty much figured out is that it doesn't matter how good you are at a job, and I give them credit this, or how good you are at doing something. If the system don't like you, if the person that's running the system, they don't like you, you would never be seen. But hey, hit the Piston post game reaction playlist, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the love and support. Check out the Piston Talk playlist as well too. Peace.